Welcome to the deep dive, where we kind of take all this information and research and articles and try to break it down into something digestible for you.
Right.
Something fun, something you can take away and learn something from. And today's topic,
A big one.
a big one, psychedelic pharmacology,
Yes.
but with a fun little twist.
Yes.
Instead of our usual deep dive format,
Right?
we are going to be doing a quiz show
Oh.
all about what psychedelics do to the brain. So I am very excited
It's really fun.
to introduce our expert for today. They are a PhD researcher specializing in, you guessed it,
Psychedelics.
psychedelics.
That's me.
So are you ready to test our psychedelic knowledge?
Absolutely.
All right.
Let's do it.
Round one, receptor roulette.
Ooh, I like it.
Question one, which receptor is the key to the psychedelic effects of LSD and psilocybin?
Ooh, that's a good one. Is it the dopamine receptor
Yeah.
orchestrating the reward symphony?
I like how you phrase that.
Or could it be the GABA receptor, The brain's chill out lounge.
Those are good guesses. But the real star of the show here
Okay.
is the 5-HT2A receptor.
Yes. The 5-HT2A receptor.
That's the one.
Think of it like a lock on the door to altered perception.
Okay.
And psilocybin or LSD, those are the keys.
So it's not just like a random chemical rave in the brain.
No.
These molecules have a specific target.
100%.
That's fascinating.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
Oh.
If you block the 5-HT2A receptor with a drug like ketanserin, the psychedelic effects, they just poof, disappear.
Wow.
Like turning off a light switch.
No more melting walls or conversations with plants.
Exactly.
That's so interesting.
It's amazing, isn't it? Just how crucial this receptor is to that whole
Wow.
psychedelic experience.
That's wild. So it's like our brains are,
Intricate machines.
yes,
And these molecules
are the tools.
are the tools that allow us to
Wow.
tinker with the setting.
Tinker with the settings. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, question two.
All right.
This one's a real brain twister.
Ooh.
True or false? Ketamine can still produce profound changes in brain connectivity even when the serotonin 2A receptor is blocked.
Okay, so this is where we start venturing into some really, really mind-blowing territory, right?
Okay.
For a long time, we thought the serotonin system, right, it was the main stage for all of this, but
Right.
ketamine is like that friend who shows up to the party fashionably late with a whole different vibe.
Okay, so
Right.
is it true or false?
Yeah,
Can it reshape the brain without serotonin?
it's true. Ketamine, it can still shake things up in the brain even when the serotonin 2A receptor is taking a break. It's off doing its own thing.
How is that even possible? Like, what other pathways
Yeah.
are even involved?
So ketamine dances to the beat of a different drummer, right? One of its favorite partners is the NMDA receptor, which is kind of like a control panel for learning, memory, and even pain perception.
The NMDA receptor.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that from neurobiology,
Oh, yeah.
which I may or may not have slept through.
I mean, we've all been there.
Can you refresh my memory on what that receptor does?
Sure. So imagine the NMDA receptor as the brain's air traffic controller,
Okay.
right? Managing the flow of information between neurons.
Okay.
And ketamine's ability to block this receptor, we think that plays a key role in its rapid antidepressant effects.
Wait, so ketamine can change the way our brains are wired,
Mm-hmm.
even without touching serotonin?
Yeah, that's right.
It's like rewiring a house
I know.
without using any wires.
Pretty crazy, right?
My mind is officially blown.
It's pretty wild, isn't it?
It's amazing.
And this knowledge could be the key to unlocking new treatments, for a whole range of conditions.
Imagine a future where we can tailor treatments based on someone's brain chemistry.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Really exciting stuff.
Wait, let's move on to round two. Mysteries of the mind.
Oh, I like it.
Okay, first question.
Hi.
Can a single experience with psilocybin really have long-lasting effects on the brain?
Okay, so now we're diving into this concept of neuroplasticity.
Okay.
Which is this incredible, it's the brain's ability to rewire itself
Right.
throughout life.
Wow.
Think of it like the brain's version of a software update,
Okay.
Getting
Sure.
rid of the bugs.
Is it true that a single psychedelic experience can be like hitting the upgrade button?
Yes.
Wow.
Psilocybin, it can be a catalyst for this neuroplasticity,
Okay.
encouraging the brain to sprout these new connections and strengthen the existing ones. It's like giving your brain this
Wow.
growth spurt,
Growth spurt.
allowing it to learn and adapt in new ways.
So how does it do that?
How does it do that?
Yeah, like how does it actually flip the switch on these brain-changing renovations?
Well, when psilocybin enters the brain, it transforms into psilocin, its active form. And psilocin, well, it's got a VIP pass to the 5-HT2A receptor, right?
Right. The psychedelic bouncer lets it right through the door.
Exactly. And when psilocin binds to this receptor, it triggers this whole cascade of events.
Okay.
Right? It sets off these specific signaling pathways like MAP kinase and PI3K act.
Time for a pap quiz.
Okay, hit me.
What do those signaling pathways actually do?
Oh.
Are they like the construction crew?
Yeah.
Remodeling the brain?
Think of them as the architects
Oh.
of neuroplasticity, right?
Okay.
They guide the rewiring process.
So psilocin kind of whispers to these architects and says, hey, let's build some new neural pathways over here and maybe knock down that wall over there.
100%. And the brain gets this whole new floor plan.
That's a great analogy.
Isn't it?
I love it.
It's wild. And this whole rewiring process, triggered by just a single psilocybin experience, it can have long-lasting effects on how the brain operates.
That's incredible.
It is.
I'm starting to understand why people describe psychedelic experiences as,
Life-changing.
life-changing.
Yeah.
Okay, question 2. What is fear extinction? And how might psychedelics like MDMA and psilocybin be involved in, hitting the delete button on fear?
Ooh, fear extinction.
Yeah.
This is fascinating, right? It's the brain's natural way of learning that a previously threatening thing, a stimulus, it's no longer dangerous. It's like hitting the reset button on that fear response.
So it's like the brain's smoke alarm keeps going off even though the fire's out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in conditions like PTSD, this process can get stuck,
I
right?
think a person's constantly on
High alert, yeah. Reliving the trauma over and over again. And this is where
No.
psychedelics might offer this really, really revolutionary approach.
So are you saying that psychedelics can help the brain relearn safety?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Like teach the smoke alarm to chill out?
Exactly, especially MDMA. MDMA seems to have this real talent for rewiring those fear circuits, right? It boosts levels of these key neurotransmitters like serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine, which are all involved in emotional processing, fear regulation, all that stuff.
So it's like flooding the brain with these feel-good chemicals while simultaneously helping it rewrite those traumatic memories.
That's a very simplified way of putting it, but yes,
Wow.
MDMA creates this window of opportunity, this window where the brain is more receptive to change, right?
Right.
So it allows those traumatic memories to be processed
Wow.
in a less threatening context.
That's that's incredible.
Isn't it?
It's like giving the brain a chance to finally exhale.
Yeah.
And let go of those like ingrained patterns of fear.
Yeah.
Wow, I can see why there's so much excitement surrounding this research.
Yeah.
Okay, time for round 3. The future is now.
Okay.
Question 1. What's the big deal about the FDA giving psilocybin the breakthrough therapy designation?
This is huge. This is like the FDA giving psilocybin the fast pass
Wow.
to potential approval as a treatment.
So we could see psilocybin becoming like a mainstream
Yeah.
treatment for depression in the near future.
Potentially, that's the hope. It's a major step toward bringing psychedelic medicine into the mainstream, right?
Right. Yeah.
But remember,
Yeah.
these are still, they're Schedule A drugs.
Right.
Meaning they're considered to have no medical value and high potential for abuse.
So this FDA designation
Yeah.
is kind of like a crack in the dam,
Yes.
a sign that old paradigm is starting to crumble.
100%. I think this shift in thinking could be a game changer, right?
Wow.
Opening up the floodgates for all this research and development, potentially leading to new treatments for all sorts of things.
That's really incredible, and it's exciting. See where it goes.
Yeah.
Okay, last question for this round. True or false? Personalized psychedelic therapies, using fancy things like genetic testing and VR technology, are on the horizon.
Okay, so this takes us to the bleeding edge of psychedelic research, right?
Yeah.
Where science fiction is becoming reality, and the answer is a resounding true.
Right. Wow.
Yes.
So we're talking tailor-made psychedelic treatments.
Yes, exactly. Imagine using genetic testing to actually predict how someone might respond to a particular psychedelic.
Like a custom-fitted suit
Exact.
for your brain.
Yeah. We're
Wow.
already doing this with SSRIs, right?
Right.
Where certain genes can influence how well the medication works.
So by analyzing someone's DNA,
Mm-hmm.
we can know which psychedelic would best fit their brain?
Potentially.
Yes.
And then there's VR.
Right, VR.
Right. The mind-blowing potential of that. Imagine creating these immersive environments, like a personalized,
Wow.
choose your own adventure
Wow.
for your consciousness to guide people through these experiences.
Like a virtual therapist.
Yeah.
Leading you through the psychedelic landscape.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
That's incredible. We're officially in the future now. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll tackle the final round. Ethics in exploration.
Can't wait.
Dave.
Stay tuned.
All right. Hashtag TTS. The Deep Dive episode 2024-12-23, part 2 of 3. Welcome back to The Deep Dive. We've been on this incredible journey through the world of receptors and neuroplasticity,
Yeah.
and we even caught a glimpse of the future of personalized psychedelic therapies.
It's pretty wild stuff.
It is wild stuff. And now it's time for our final round.
Oh, okay.
Ethics and exploration, where we're going to navigate the complex terrain of responsible psychedelic use and delve into the profound questions that these molecules raise about, like reality itself.
The big questions.
Yeah, the big questions. All right, let's dive right in.
Okay.
First question.
All right.
We've talked about all the potential benefits, but what about the risks, right?
Yeah.
What are some things that can go wrong on a psychedelic journey?
Yeah, it's crucial to remember that these are powerful tools, right?
Right.
And like any tool, they can be misused. So physically, there can be side effects, nausea, changes in heart rate.
Right.
Psychologically, they can trigger anxiety, paranoia, and in rare cases, even temporary psychosis.
So it's not all rainbows and unicorns.
No, it's not. It's not always, pleasant and blissful.
Right. There's a shadow side to these.
Absolutely, yeah. And they can unearth these really deeply buried emotions and traumas, right? So without proper preparation, support, and integration, these experiences can be really overwhelming and even destabilizing.
That makes sense. It's like going spelunking in the caves of your subconscious.
Yes.
You need the right gear, and you definitely need a guide,
100%.
someone who knows the terrain. Speaking of guides, what role does psychotherapy play in this whole thing?
Yeah, psychotherapy it's essential, especially in the context of psychedelic-assisted therapy. It's not just about having a mind-blowing experience.
Right.
It's about using those altered states of consciousness to actually, facilitate healing and personal growth.
So the therapist acts like like a psychedelic Sherpa, helping the person, the individual, prepare for the journey, navigate the challenging terrain, and then integrate the insights
Integrate,
that they've uncovered along the way.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The therapy sessions provide this safe and supportive container for exploring all the stuff that comes up,
Right.
the emotions, the insights, and making sense of that, applying that.
It's like the psychedelics loosen the soil,
Yeah.
and then therapy helps plant those seeds of transformation and then
Beautiful. I love that.
nurture their growth.
Yeah, it's a synergistic process, isn't it?
It really is.
Where the psychedelic experience opens up these new possibilities, and then therapy helps solidify those changes and integrate them into, everyday life.
Speaking of integration, what does it actually mean to integrate a psychedelic experience?
Right.
Is it just like bringing a souvenir back from a vacation?
No, it's more than that.
Yeah.
It's about weaving the insights and the lessons that you learn during these experiences into the fabric of your being.
Ooh, into the fabric of your being. I like that.
Right.
Okay.
It's an ongoing process, right, of reflection, journaling, even things like meditation or yoga can be really, really helpful in that.
So taking those psychedelic insights and kind of turning them into actual steps
Yeah,
for
exactly.
personal transformation.
It's about embodying those lessons, using them to create a more fulfilling life.
We've talked about so much today, and I feel like the field is really on the verge of a major, major paradigm shift.
It feels that way, doesn't it?
It really does. What are some of the most exciting frontiers in psychedelics research right now?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think personalized medicine. It's super exciting, right? We touched on this a bit earlier, but imagine using genetic testing to predict how someone might respond to a particular psychedelic, tailoring these treatments
To their needs.
precision medicine
Yeah.
with a mind.
Instead of a one-size-fits-all approach, we're moving towards these customized treatments that take into account individual variations.
I love that. What other frontiers are you particularly excited about?
Hmm. I think the development of new psychedelic compounds.
Oh, okay.
It's really fascinating
So
to me.
not just like the
Not
classics.
just the classics, LSD,
Yeah.
psilocybin.
Yeah.
Scientists are creating these novel molecules that target very specific receptors and pathways,
Oh.
aiming to minimize side effects and maximize therapeutic benefits.
So we're expanding the psychedelic toolkit?
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
And we can't forget about technology, right?
We've talked about VR, but there's also research exploring AI, biofeedback, even brain-computer interfaces, all of this in conjunction with psychedelics.
It's like a convergence of ancient wisdom and cutting-edge technology.
It really is. It's a remarkable time to be in this field. It feels limitless.
It does. Before we get too carried away with future possibilities, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the potential for psychedelics to be psychologically destabilizing for some people.
Right, yeah.
How do we balance the potential benefits with the need for safety?
I think education is key, right? Moving away from these sensationalized portrayals that we often see and providing accurate, evidence-based information.
So it's not about encouraging everyone to go out and experiment.
No, not at all.
It's about creating a culture of informed and responsible use.
Absolutely. People need to understand that these are not a quick fix
Right.
or a party drug, right? They can be incredibly powerful tools for healing, but they require careful preparation, integration, and ongoing support.
And, we also have to make sure that access is carefully regulated,
100%.
and provided by trained professionals.
Yeah, we don't want a repeat of the 60s, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
widespread recreational use led to that backlash
Right, and hindered research.
and really hindered research for decades, yeah.
So we need to learn from the past,
Absolutely.
create a responsible framework for psychedelic medicine
Yeah.
that prioritizes safety
Mm-hmm.
and ethics.
For sure.
Speaking of ethics, how do you see those considerations shaping the future of psychedelic research?
I think ethical considerations have to be paramount, right? We have to be so mindful of things like exploitation, cultural appropriation, the commodification of these sacred medicines.
Right,
It's crucial to approach this work with humility and respect,
right,
recognizing the wisdom of indigenous cultures
right.
who have been the stewards of these plants for centuries.
It's about honoring those traditions
Yes.
while also embracing.
The rigor of scientific inquiry.
Yes, exactly.
Finding that balance
Wow.
between tradition and innovation, making sure these therapies are accessible, safe, and culturally sensitive.
This conversation has been so enlightening, and I feel like I've learned so much about the complexities of psychedelics.
Yeah.
Both the potential
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and the risks.
For sure.
And I'm curious about the cultural impact of psychedelics, right? It seems like these substances are slowly weaving their way back into the fabric of society
Yeah.
after, decades of prohibition.
Yeah, it's exciting to witness this resurgence of interest, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're seeing a growing acceptance of these substances,
Yeah.
as tools for healing, creativity,
Mhm.
personal growth.
Right?
They're inspiring new forms of art, music, literature, and
Yeah.
they're sparking these really important conversations about consciousness, spirituality,
Right.
our relationship with nature, all of that.
Yeah, it's like the cracking open a window
Mm-hmm.
to a different way of seeing the world.
Yeah.
A world that's more interconnected,
Yeah.
more vibrant, more full of wonder.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's like they're helping us remember that magic, the mystery
Yeah.
that lies at the heart of existence.
Okay, I have to ask you about a few specific psychedelics
Okay.
that have piqued my interest. First up, DMT.
Oh,
It's also described as producing these incredibly intense, short-lasting experiences,
right.
like a fast
A
track
fast track. Yeah.
to another dimension. What is going on in the brain when someone smokes DMT?
So DMT it's truly fascinating, right? It's actually produced in the human body.
It is.
Yeah, and it's found in various plants, but when it's smoked or vaporized, it rapidly binds to a variety of serotonin receptors, including our star player, the 5-HT2A receptor.
Right.
But it also interacts with other receptor systems, like the sigma-1 receptor, which might contribute to its unique effects.
Sigma-1 receptor.
Yeah.
Remind me what that one does.
So the sigma-1 receptor it's a bit of an enigma.
Okay.
We're still unraveling all of its mysteries, but it seems to be involved in a lot of things, modulating neurotransmitters, neuroplasticity, even cell survival.
So DMT is like a,
Multi-instrumentalist.
yes, playing a whole symphony of brain activity.
100%. It's not just hitting a single note.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, and this complexity makes it really hard to fully understand
Right.
how it produces these remarkable effects. People often describe encountering otherworldly beings, visiting these alternate realities, experiencing profound shifts in consciousness, you know?
It sounds like a wild ride.
It can be, yeah. It can be.
What about its therapeutic potential? Is there research being done on DMT for mental health?
So DMT research is still, it's early stages, but there is a growing interest in its potential therapeutic applications.
Okay.
Some studies suggest that it might have rapid antidepressant effects, similar to ketamine.
Wow, so it could offer a fast-acting intervention
Yeah,
for
yeah,
people struggling with depression.
that's the hope. However, more research is definitely needed to understand its long-term effects and safety profile.
Right.
Yeah.
It seems like we're just beginning to scratch the surface
Yeah,
of DMT's potential.
for sure.
Okay, shifting gears a bit, I want to ask you about ayahuasca.
Oh,
Was
wow.
a traditional Amazonian brew
Mm-hmm.
that contains DMT
Yeah,
as well as other psychoactive compounds.
right.
What makes ayahuasca different from just like smoking DMT?
So ayahuasca, it combines DMT with an MAOI,
What?
which is a monoamine oxidase inhibitor,
Okay.
which allows the DMT to be orally active.
Oh, okay.
So it produces this longer lasting experience, typically several hours.
So it's like a slow release version of DMT.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the significance of the MAOI?
So the MAOI, it prevents the breakdown of DMT in the gut.
Okay.
So it allows it to enter the bloodstream. Right.
Reach the brain.
Yeah.
And these ayahuasca ceremonies,
Right.
they've been used for centuries in indigenous cultures
Yeah.
for healing, for spiritual exploration, personal transformation.
And there's growing interest in ayahuasca's potential to treat things like addiction, depression, PTSD.
Yeah, the research is really, really promising in those areas.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting.
But it's essential to remember that ayahuasca, it can have very intense physical and psychological effects.
Right.
It's not suitable for everyone.
Set and setting are crucial,
Absolutely.
as with any psychedelic.
100%. The ceremonial context, the guidance of an experienced shaman,
Right.
the support of a community, all of that contributes to the experience.
It's not just about the pharmacology. It's about, the cultural and spiritual context in which these medicines are used.
Exactly.
Okay, one last psychedelic I want to ask you about, ibogaine.
Ibogaine. Okay.
It's derived from the root bark of the African iboga plant.
And it's gotten a lot of attention for its potential to treat opioid addiction.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
What makes ibogaine unique in the world of psychedelics?
So ibogaine is really unique in its ability to interrupt those withdrawal symptoms and reduce cravings
Wow.
for opioids. It's got this really complex pharmacology, interacts with multiple neurotransmitter systems, including serotonin, dopamine, glutamate.
So it's not just like masking the symptoms.
Yeah.
It's actually like addressing the underlying neurochemical imbalances.
That's what the research suggests, yeah.
Wow.
It's thought to reset the brain's reward system, essentially rewriting those neural pathways associated with addiction.
That's incredible.
And it also produces these really intense visions,
Oh, wow.
introspective experiences that can help people gain a deeper understanding of their addiction, develop a new perspective on life.
But ibogaine's also controversial, right?
It is, yeah.
There have been concerns about its safety.
Yeah, it's a potent substance, and it should only be used in very carefully controlled settings
Right.
with medical supervision. It's not a miracle cure, and it can be risky for people with certain health conditions.
Right. So it's a reminder that these substances have immense potential for healing,
Absolutely.
but they also demand, respect and caution.
100%, yeah.
We need to find that balance.
That balance, for sure.
Of potential benefits and a clear understanding of the risks.
Yeah, as psychedelic research continues to evolve, I think we must prioritize safety, ethics, and responsible use.
This conversation has been a truly mind-expanding journey.
It
I
has.
feel like I've only just begun to explore this vast world of psychedelics.
It's a constantly evolving field full of mystery and wonder.
It is.
What's so inspiring is witnessing this renaissance of research after, decades of stigma
Right.
and prohibition.
It's really exciting to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, we're finally starting to unlock those secrets and harness their power for healing and
Yeah.
human flourishing. Hashtag TTS The Deep Dive episode 2024-12-23, part 3 of 3. And it goes way beyond the scientists. It feels like psychedelics are having this ripple effect on our culture, our understanding of spirituality, even our relationship with the natural world. It's pretty amazing to watch how they're challenging these boundaries between science and spirituality, two things that have always been seen as separate.
It's true. It's like psychedelics are bridging the gap between the objective world of science and the subjective world of inner experience. Like offering us this glimpse into this deeper reality where like everything's interconnected.
Yeah, exactly. And this shift in perspective is really pushing us, to reconsider some long-held assumptions and explore new ways of understanding ourselves and like the universe we inhabit.
And it's so interesting how they're reawakening this connection with nature. I mean, so many of these substances come from plants and fungi, reminding us that like healing and wisdom can be found in the natural world.
Yeah, and that's a really crucial point. We've become so disconnected from nature, in our modern world. And psychedelics, they offer this portal back to that sense of awe and reverence for the interconnectedness of all life.
It's like they're reminding us that we're not separate from nature, but part of this like vast and intricate web of life.
Exactly. And this interconnectedness, it has like profound implications for how we approach environmental issues.
Yeah.
If we can cultivate a deeper sense of connection with nature, maybe we'll be more motivated to protect it, to preserve it.
It's a beautiful vision.
Yeah.
And one that feels increasingly urgent, I think, as we face, all these ecological crises. Speaking of paradigm shifts, I'm curious about how psychedelics are influencing psychotherapy. Like, are they changing the way therapists approach mental health treatment?
We're seeing a real shift, away from that traditional disease-centered model of mental health, the one that really just focuses on symptom reduction. Psychedelic-assisted therapy often embraces a more holistic approach.
Yeah.
It recognizes this inherent healing potential within each person.
So instead of just trying to fix what's broken, it's about, like, exploring the root causes of suffering, and fostering personal growth and transformation.
Exactly. It's about empowering individuals to become, active participants in their own healing journey.
That can be incredibly empowering, I think, especially for folks who have felt stuck in those traditional treatment modalities.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially those who have been, struggling with chronic mental health conditions for a long time. It's about recognizing their innate capacity for healing and providing that support.
Another aspect of psychedelics that I find really fascinating is their potential to address these like big existential concerns. In a world that's often fixated on, material success and instant gratification, it seems like psychedelics are kind of reawakening this sense of meaning and purpose.
They have a way of prompting us, don't they, to reflect on those big questions of life, death, our place in the cosmos. They can facilitate these really profound experiences of interconnectedness, transcendence, this sense of belonging to something greater than ourselves.
It's like they're offering us this glimpse into the mystery and majesty of existence, reminding us that there's like so much more to life than what we see on the surface.
And that can be so comforting and so inspiring, especially in a culture that often feels fragmented and disconnected.
Absolutely. We've covered so much ground today, but there's one more elephant in the room that I want to address, and that's the legal and regulatory landscape surrounding psychedelics.
Yeah.
We've made some progress. I mean, psilocybin received that breakthrough therapy designation from the FDA.
Right.
But so many of these substances are still illegal. So what needs to happen to create a more sensible and ethical approach to psychedelic policy?
We need a real paradigm shift, moving away from that punitive war on drugs toward something more compassionate, more evidence-based.
Decriminalization and legalization seem to be gaining momentum in different parts of the world. But how do we ensure that access is safe, that it's responsible?
That's the key question. And I think we need a regulatory framework that balances access with safety, much like we do with, alcohol, with cannabis.
Yeah.
This would involve things like, licensing therapists who are trained in psychedelic-assisted therapy, establishing quality control standards for these substances, and, of course, educating the public about responsible use.
It's a complex issue, but it's one that we really have to start thinking about carefully. As this
Yes.
field continues to expand, we have to move away from these fear-based policies and create something more nuanced, more informed.
I completely agree. This is an opportunity to really rethink our approach to mental health care, to embrace both, the wisdom of these ancient traditions and the insights of modern science.
Well, this deep dive has been absolutely incredible. It's been truly mind-expanding. We've explored the intricacies of psychedelics, from their molecular mechanisms to their profound cultural impact. And I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
We have, but it's been an absolute pleasure sharing this exploration with you. Your insightful questions, your curiosity, it's made this a really, really engaging conversation.
The pleasure was all mine. Thank you for being here today.
Of course.
For sharing your expertise and your passion with our listeners. And to our listeners, we encourage you to continue exploring, to keep questioning, to keep engaging in these really important conversations about the role of psychedelics in our lives and in our collective future. As we wrap up this deep dive into the world of psychedelics, we want to leave you with one final thought to ponder. If these molecules have the power to dissolve the boundaries of our ego, to connect us to something larger than ourselves, what does that mean for our understanding of human nature? What does it mean for our place in the cosmos? And what does it mean for our responsibility to care for ourselves, to care for each other, and to care for this planet? It's a question that's going to continue to unfold, I think, as we navigate this incredible new era of psychedelic exploration. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.